Welcome. Today, I'm trying to replace a busted old screen at my house, and I don't know what I did with my roller tool here, if you've ever seen one of these. And as everybody knows, the best way to find a missing object is to buy a new one. And then, as soon as you buy the new one, you find the old one. And so, I'm going to do even worse. I'm going to make my own in SolidWorks and 3D print it. So that way, not only do I have to pay for the plastic and the 3D printer and the $8,000 CAD software, yeah. So it only cost me, instead of what is it, probably $5 at the store, I'm gonna make my own. And this is not it. This is just the thing that I was working on. Little corner bracket for a different project. All right, so in order to do this, we will first design it quick. This is going to be quick. All right, so let's say, what's the diameter on this thing? It's an inch and a quarter, 1.3, call it 1.36. Perfect enough. And let's just extrude that. And I have my channel here, so I can measure the width of my channel. If you've not seen how this works, let's see, channel. Does it show the channel? Anyway, there you go. This picture right here. So you get this rubber gasket thing, so you stuff it in the groove. And so I need to know how wide that groove is so the tool will fit in it. And so I'm measuring that as I speak. And that is 4. I think I'll go 0.14. Alright. And so one question I have here, let's add to that 0.14. So one question I have is, should I do a print in place or should I do separate? And I think I'm going to do separate, sort of snap together. Just so this will be printing flat on the... just thinking about how I could potentially do like a single-sided swing arm type of deal. If you know motorcycles, rarely you'll see on a motorcycle where instead of 2 sides to the fork, it will only have a leg on one side, that's extremely rare, but also on the rear. So like I had this BMW K1300S. Minor tangent here. This is worth seeing just because the bike was so freaking awesome. So this bike, this is actually a good image of it because it shows there's no swing arm on this side. It's only a swing arm on the far side. So here, actually, this one looks just like mine did. Oh, that was such an awesome bike. And can you see that? Yeah. So now you can see on this side it's got a swing arm. And on this one, on this side, it doesn't have a swing arm because it's a single-sided swing arm. That was such a beast of a bike. Oh my god, I totaled it on my way to work one day. And that was late in the fall, so I waited till spring to replace it, and I decided to retire from street bikes that spring. I still have a bunch of dirt bikes and mountain bikes and ATVs and stuff. Just don't do the street bikes, highway speeds and cross the state and things like that. It's just I've had so many close calls. But anyway, that's not why you're here. So I'm going to make this out. So what I was getting at is I could potentially make it a print in place and give it sort of a single-sided swing arm. What I don't like about that is it seems like it won't be rigid enough. But as I think about it, there are things that I can do to make it rigid enough. So, for example, I can just make the hub like really big, right? And so let's say I did that. How would that look? Let's put a sketch right here. I want to make this a mid-plane extrusion just to keep it centered on the planes. Sometimes that makes things easier down the road. Alright, so now, this is why I did that, because I wanted to, and I say that and now I disagree with myself, so I'm going to stop saying it. So basically I just need to do something like this. Now Is this going to roll well enough? Possibly not. But let's see what happens. And I'm going to put a line here. And I was going to just do a thin extrude, but I want my gaps to sort of vary here. So, like, I want this gap. I'm going to unselect the chain, and I'm just going to go 0.03 here because I don't want any interference. I'm going to go reverse, and I'll do the same thing here, but I'm doing them in separate commands so I can adjust these gaps. So like this gap, so it's going to print this way. So this gap I want to be 20 thousandths of an inch. That's just a good number that I find that I can do a print in place to to get something to pivot after. And so I'll do this. I need this line, and I need this line, and I'm going to trim this to extend it, and trim, extend, and trim. And now I'm going to pre-select this, and I'm going to say V for revolve. And now I could do revolve cut. Excuse me. But I like to, a lot of times, I just make a solid and then I subtract it, and that gives me more flexibility. So many times I do it the other way, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had that solid body to reuse for something else. And so this allows me to do that. So I'm going to subtract from this, subtract this. And so now I have two pieces. All right? And so now, if I were to... All right, so I got a pretty big gap. That's a big gap. But I want it to roll. So I think I'm okay with that big gap. I may make that smaller, but I just want to make sure that they don't fuse together. And there are things that I could do. I'm thinking I could like print little roller bearings in there. I'm not sure how well those would work. I'm not sure. Let's try it then. All right. This could go bad. I'm printing on a support. Probably a bad idea. I'm just not going to do that. We'll just hope it rolls, and we'll see what happens. And so this I want to stick out by a good amount. I want a good amount. So I'm going to do a move face here, and then I'm going to draw a circle on it after I move it. So I'm going to move this face, let's say 40 thousandths. I could adjust that later. And then I'll put a circle here. Concentric with there. And I just need to cover. That, right? I'm printing in place, so I can't go that high. The 40,000 is going to be too much, so I'm just going to do that and let that merge, and I'm going to go back to the move face. I'm going to change it to 20 instead of 40, and hopefully once I break it apart, it's enough gap to move. And like I said, I might have to remake this in a not print in place version, which would probably be the smarter way to do it. But I'm not going to try to claim the smarts. Then I need a handle. So let's say my handle is like so. And I'm going to offset this, select chain, bidirectional, cap, and arcs. And let's make it 1.5 inches, so it's going to be 0.75, half of an inch and a half. And let's do base geometry, construction, and there we go. So that's probably a good size. Oh, what did I do? How did I get there? Slightly confused. Why is there no gap? Move face. Move face. Did I put that on the wrong? Sketch plane? Ah, that seems like not what I selected before, but okay. Alright, and now, now I'll go back to this sketch, which I somehow put on the wrong face, and let's change this face to here. Yeah, alright. And so now, that's basically the print bed surface. And so then I can extrude this guy up to the surface. And I may make some adjustments. And yeah, okay. Let's just do this. Let's do this. And let's do this. Project geometry. And a line from here to here. And a line from here to here. So now the question is, will become, is it stiff enough? This is not tangent. This is not tangent. Now they are. And let's extrude, and we'll extrude to this vertex, which is not really a vertex, but I think it'll let me select it. Nope. It has to be a vertex. What a stickler. Alright then, up to surface. Up to surface, select other. That guy. And merge results should work great. Okay, so now I have this not very ergonomic looking handle. Let's put a little bit of a radius on it. Let's make it a little more comfy. This one can be nice and generous because it's on the top. So, what if I want 0.2? Does that break it? Whoa. Whoa. What happens? Does that go away? Ah. Alright. We'll call that perfect enough. And except for I'm going to add another one here. And maybe I'll do that and just do supports. That'll give me a nice comfy radius, and I'll bust the supports off. And then I'll have plastic digging into my hand. It'll be great. Alright. Let's call that perfect enough. And can I put a radius on there a little bit? There we go. And now I just feel like putting a radius here just because it'd be cool. I would have done it bigger if it lets me. Okay. Now, this does not need to be that far away. And all that's going to do is make it less rigid here. So, yeah, what I really want to do is this. Let's, instead of that, let's offset this guy by, let's say, 0.08. Not bidirectional. Alright. And is this going to intersect? Nice. Alright then. And let's throw a radius on there. Beautiful. Oh, that's not special. Oops. Alright. I can fix these radii. Maybe. Oh, it's just missing the edge. because I made it go away. Oh no, that's the other one. Was it? No, the other one's there. No, that's not it. Where was that one? Alright, what was the edge? Show me the edge. Oh, okay, what was that one? Alright then. Oh, that's right, I said I'd make it a generous radius and then rely on supports. Fair enough. And this guy will now be this guy. And, oops. Come on. Okay. Well, that's interesting shape. I'll take it. This looks a little bulky. That'll do. I mean, 1.5 inches. That's what I did. Just thinking like, yeah, it'll be fine. I'd probably put a big hole in it. Let's do this. Let's do... I mean, I always like hexagons. Yeah, I was thinking like triangles, but this'll do. Don't merge because I want to add fillets. Alright. And fill pattern here, and this guy a little close together. There we go. And then we will subtract via Boolean operations from that guy, all these guys. Alright, and then we'll throw the radius on here and on here. Now the funny thing is, this may not have actually saved me any material because of the fact the two shell walls, and now there's that many more shell walls. So it'd be interesting to see, if I cared enough, if I actually saved myself any material by putting all these holes in it. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't care. Alright, let's get let's put the radii on here. 0.0. I want that thing actually kind of flat. So it doesn't, so the little worm thing doesn't skirt off to the side. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Let's see what it looks like on a cross section, just so if that pivot really might work. I don't have much of a retainer on here, on this end here. Should probably get a little taller. Why did I only do that? No, I didn't only do that. I did a move face. What happened to my move face? Oh, did I do it backwards? Oh. Okay. Alright. Well, I was confused there for a moment. Let's do this. Let's adjust this here. this. And I think about halfway will be good, because one side will be bearing on this, and the other side will be bearing on this. That's a big gap. What did I do, 30 thou both? Yeah. That, I'm not sure how well that's going to roll. I'm not really sure this even needs to roll very well. But we'll find out. And if it doesn't, then I'll figure something else out. I was just, again, thinking about like making roller elements in there, but that's not trivial, so I'm not going to do it. Tesla stock, inching up. Anyway, so I rebuild this, and now I think we are good to go. Right? Looking good. I think this will probably print nicely. If I can keep those supports, I gotta keep the supports out of there. So if I go supports just from the base, I think it'll keep the supports out of. So let's do this. Let's save. I didn't even save this thing. Screen roller, and then call it a step file. Screen roller 0506. Alright then. And let's bring up this guy, slicer, and get rid of this guy. This is a nylon corner bracket I made. It's kind of contoured. It's actually a pretty strong shape. Nice design. This is my handlebar horns, I call them, for my mountain bike. So if you flip the bike over to do any maintenance, then there's so many controls on an electric bike, or even on any bike nowadays, any mountain bike, an electric bike, plus you have the display. So these are clamps, these are little horns on my handlebars, so when I flip the bike over, that it's resting on the tips of these, which that's just custom supports. Rests on this flat here on each side. I made myself a little scraper here. Anyway, enough show and tell. Let's bring this guy in. Screen roller. And I successfully designed it in the right orientation this time. It's a minor miracle. And right now we're on nylon. I don't want this to be nylon because it would just absolutely fuse into one. Plus I'm almost out of nylon. I just ordered a new batch of nylon. I like printing in nylon. It's very durable. Alright, we need a PLA. Generic PLA. Where'd you go? Generic PLA. Alright. And supports from the build plate only, and remove all small overhangs. I'm not sure exactly what that does. It makes it sound like they adjusting your geometry a little bit where they can help, but it says remove small overhangs, blah blah blah. Remove small overhangs that possibly need no supports. So I don't mean if that just means it's not going to try to support small overhangs. Maybe that's all it means. Either way, well, let's try it both ways. So let's slice it. What do I have for walls? Hold on. 4. I don't want that. And I have these guys. They don't need to be heavy duty. That's off my nylon stuff. So I made a little heavy duty. I do like the gyroid infill. Although I think that takes a little longer. So I'm just going to put it back to standard. I don't need the strict. I like the durability of the gyroid. In my experience of structural design and analysis, a bunch of curves coming together distributes the loads across more volume of the part in order to decrease the stress risers at any given point. And if you understood that, you probably already knew it. So, I'm not a teacher. I meant to check this right here. Do we still have a gap there? I need to look in the CAD. What happened Can the cat? Yeah, okay, we get clearance. That's what I was concerned about. This is right here. Plenty. All right then. This is what I do. Okay, I went back to all defaults. So it looks like sport, build plate only, overhangs. Okay, slice. And so that's going to be 13.49. Very little sports, which I like to see. Except for, I say that, but no, I wanted that actually to support the, I don't know, maybe that'll just print okay. I mean, that seems miraculous, but I guess they have been. You know what, this thing might curl up on me too. I'm definitely going to put a raft. No, not a raft. A brim. Where's, oh, here. A brim. And we'll go manual. Outer only. Faux show. And 5mm. I'm going to go 8mm. And slice plate. And so we have 14.01 grams. And what if I, in barely any sports, just that strip. And that might be a pain to get out. I wonder if I can get away with not even having the sport. But anyway, let's go back to here and uncheck, remove small overhangs. What do you say, 14.01 and 14.01 grams still. So that doesn't seem to have changed a bit. Now, that little bit of support there, all it's going to do is lock my wheel up. Right? That's all it's going to do. So, yeah, I mean, that's not doing me any good. Yeah, turning off supports. Reslice. And 13.94 grams. Saved a little bit. I was just thinking, I wonder, out of curiosity, let's do this. Let's break it on purpose. And now, see what this costs me in plastic. So I'm going to call this 506X for experimental. Normally I would put an A or a B or a C, but I don't want for me to see that and say, oh, that's the latest and that's the one I should use like in the future when I replace this again next time. Let's get rid of this guy and add this guy. I should have just kept it there. Never, I hate that it asks me that. The answer is never. Let's say 13.94, 14. So I did save a little bit of material, and it'd be a little stronger, I'm pretty sure. So let's do this guy. Oh, you know what? I want to print time. 20 minutes, 8 seconds. Let's do that, and let's do that. And print. I did change it. Okay, I'm on PLA. And what? I don't remember what time I said. Somebody tell me in the comments what I said. All right then. Export. Did I bring in my stupid thing? I so often forget to. my thumb drive. And I have another one sitting right here that works about 5% of the time. So I guess I'm going to see if I can't fail at that one again. All right, but anyway, so let's call this 0506A. Caps locks on. Oops, A. Yeah, open that folder. Control C, and I can already see that this thumb drive is not showing up. How about if I uninstall, reinstall? It looks like it, but I bet it didn't. Yeah, it's going to choke on that, because that's how it does it. So it's a stupid USB hub I have. So I unplug the USB hub. I have this minor fear of wearing out the USB ports in my laptop. So I try to use a hub. And now it shows up just fine. It's those I bought a couple USB hubs at the same time, like 2 or 3. And they all kind of suck. Alright, so let's get rid of this guy. Delete. And paste my new G-code. And eject. And we are off to the races. So let's see how that prints. Alright, half-hour print. That's not bad. You know, in the amount of time that it takes to print, I will probably design a snap-together version for when this one doesn't roll. So, stay tuned, and I will keep you posted on how it worked out. The software said, and I may... Oh, we got some gunk there. Should be harmless. I want to go take a look. So I may design the snap together version. Alright, so a funny thing happened. As you probably just see in the video a second ago, the print failed. Alright, and so I said that was weird, and I went out and I cleaned the bed off and I reprinted, and then that print failed, both losing bed adhesion and lifting at the ends. Now I'm aware that sometimes a long narrow part often, or even like a large footprint part, especially if it's kind of flat shaped, tends to curl up at the ends sometimes. And so I decided that it was probably a geometry issue, and so I said I'm gonna make the handle not as long. And so then I came up with this design. Let me shade that. So then I came up with this handle, figuring this nice round shape will help it adhere to the bed better. And so then when I went out to print this one, I said to myself, wait a minute, is that actually PLA? And it turned out I had grabbed some PET G thinking it was PLA, and so obviously my bed was not hot enough, and the plastic in the nozzle was not hot enough, and so, arguably the nozzle was hot enough. It was probably 230 C. But I imagine the bed temperature wasn't as high as it should have been, and blah, blah, blah. And so I said, well, I'll still go with the new design, partly because I added some reinforcements in here. Let me show you what I mean. See these grooves? These are tiny screw... English. These tiny grooves reinforce the plastic. So if I put these tiny grooves, I figured this out years ago, if I put tiny voids in the model, then the slicer is going to do a perimeter around every void. And let's say if you have 2 shell walls specified in the settings, in the slicer settings, then it's going to put 2 walls around these. So these are 1 millimeter apart, and so because my print lines are like 0.45 millimeters wide or whatever they are, then basically 1 millimeter should make 1 millimeter between these, and actually probably a higher number. But anyway, it makes for a solid plastic in here, basically. Now these on the wheel, I didn't make them that solid. The funny thing was, all the previous slicers, up until a few versions ago of this Creality one, I could do like a 1,000th of an inch wide void, and that would suffice, and the slicer would make solid regions, as I explained. I noticed starting in like version 5 of Creality Print Slicer, it no longer recognizes voids that narrow. And so I think now I have to go up to like 3 thousandths of an inch. But so you can see this gap in here. This is actually a gap. I did a section view on that gap here, but let me go this way. Yeah. So, so I had to make these a little wider, which mildly annoys me, but it works. And so, for example, when I do, where am I? Self. It's going to be this guy. So now, if I slice this, and I have it basically on solid here because of another part that I'm printing. But now you can see. So actually, let me make it not solid. So you can see 32 layers here. So let me put that back to normal. Put that back to normal. So you can see the grooves here because it's kind of transparent. So you can see much better here what's going on with that. And so then when I slice it, you can see most of the part is going to be infill, except for the wheel is mostly solid, and the part supporting the wheel, the single-sided swing arm type of deal, is also quite solid there and very sturdy. So the ironic part, anyway, is that I redesigned this based on printability, not realizing my printability issue was I had the wrong settings and or material. And I mean, my material settings did not match my material in use. So there you have it. So that's it. And I printed this, and I'll have to take a picture of it and add it how it came out. Funny thing was, as I printed it, and I didn't pay attention to I didn't do the print preview, and so my voids, I had accidentally only made them 2 thousandths wide, thinking that was wide enough, and then I never checked. And so the one I printed actually didn't have this reinforcement, and it still worked fine. I used it. I rebuilt the screen, and it came out pretty excellent. And then this tool worked excellent. The other funny thing was, so like I say, it didn't have the reinforcements, and it turns out it didn't need them. But I did adjust them for the sake of the download. If anybody wants to download, it would be stronger. And it also didn't finish. Like, it printed up to about here. And so I added this material at the top here to give it extra strength on where it's, like I say, single-sided swing arm. But it made it to about here, and then for some reason shifted and failed. But like I say, I was still able to use it. So I'll show you a picture of it, a failed print. I'm not going to bother printing it again because it already works, and I already used it. So even though it's in perfect print, it worked just fine. And by the way, I printed it without supports. I probably had a brim, but I did it without supports. So anyway, I'll try to get a picture in here, and stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Hope it was pretty interesting, and let me know in the comments any thoughts that you have. Alright, so here I am with my new window screen and my window screen installation tool. As you can see, as I said, the print failed. And I did not have the reinforcement voids thick enough, wide enough, and so they did not register in the slicer, and I didn't thoroughly check the preview. But everything works. This thing rolls pretty nicely. A little better than I expected. When I first, of course, you have to sort of break away the little bit of a bond there, but it's as usual with the print in place pivots. But ultimately it works, and I was able to build this screen. And so basically you have these. I mean, if you're interested in this thing, you already know how this works. We have I'll just pull it up a little bit on the corner here. So as you can see here, has these rubber sort of almost like an endless O-ring thing. It's funny thing is this thing is so warped, and I'm not sure how much of that is due to the shape of the and the length that I cut these, versus how when I installed the screen itself, if I didn't do it perfectly square. But anyway, it flattens out by hand. Like I can flatten it out and make it square. I can force it basically. So once it's in the window, it should be fine. But anyway, so the way this works is you put this in the groove. Hard to do it one-handed. I'll do this one. All right, there we go. Hard to do this one-handed. I'm holding the phone with the other hand. But basically, you just roll this and you push this in. And now the screen is secure. Same here. I would typically just not do it in steps. You just kind of roll it linearly, but because the frame is moving on me. But that's it. So you can download this at cults3d.com. I will put a link in the description. And as you can see, it works fine. It's pretty nice ergonomic grip, actually. So overall, I like it. Thanks for watching, and make sure you ridicule me in the comments, and a lot of spam and scam artists in the comments, I hope. I'm kidding. So anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.